boot on us for 14 yards. We just can't do that.
You have to be able to hold it up there.
Well, as I mentioned, week 3, this was Georgia State's first road trip, and as we head to segment 3, we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes to move Georgia State's football team, and I'm talking everybody from Coach Curry all the way down to the radio guys, from point A to point B. You've got an outstanding director of football operations, Coach, and Sarah Gigantino. She's always got the cell phone up to the ear. She's always planning and looking ahead. Talk a little bit about her and her job and how it makes things easy for everybody around here.
Well, Sarah is an outstanding director of football operations and a rarity. In a man's world, for a young lady to be doing a job like this, she would have to be a football lifer, which is what she is. Her father, Greg Gigantino, is an outstanding defensive coordinator at Bryant College, Bryant University, up in Rhode Island, and she attended James Madison, where she worked with the football program, went and worked on her master's at Georgia Tech, where she worked with the football program, and then came to Georgia State and worked on a master's. And then when we saw that she was director of ops at Northeastern University, who gave up football, we just were so impressed with her that we hired her, and she's done a fine job.
All right, again, on the other side of this break, we'll see what it takes to get the Georgia State football team on the road from point A to point B.
Well, we don't have to be quiet.
Director of Football Operations, Sarah Gigantino. That comes your way next, again after this timeout on Inside Georgia State Football with head coach Bill Curry.
We have questions.
But the Panthers never have to go it alone. One only has to drive up to Burgess Snow Field in Jacksonville, Alabama to see that the Panthers have the support of their fans away from the Georgia Dome as well. Georgia State tents, Panther blue, and barbecue are visible in the parking lot of the JSU Gamecock Stadium. To make the team feel even more comfortable, the cheerleaders and the marching band come along for support as well. The football operations staff works tirelessly to get the players, coaches, staff, and the equipment to the game and to make sure they're comfortable and have everything that they need so that they can fully focus on football. And welcome back to Inside Georgia State Football with head coach Bill Curry. Pleased to be joined by right now by the director of football operations, Sarah Gigantino. And Sarah, when you and I were talking before, I said whenever I'm at practice and I see Sarah Gigantino at practice, she's always on the cell phone, always talking to somebody, and as I said, always running to get to the next place. Because once you get something handled, you've got to focus on what's next on the itinerary.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. I really spend my whole day is staying ahead of the team, staying ahead of the staff. Just anything in our schedule, I want to make sure it's ready to go, and that when we're due to arrive, that nothing has gone wrong or that we won't run into any problems.
And I'll ask you here in a minute, because a bus trip is a lot different than going on an airplane. The Jacksonville State game was on the bus. How early do you start planning for that? Because there's a lot of logistics moving this football team and everybody, all the support staff, from point A to point B.
Right. Actually, the fly trips are actually, I think, easier because everyone's together in one bunch. When we're on the road on a bus, there are a lot of moving parts, equipment trucks and vans, and the athletic director usually comes down the day of when she can drive. So I start the process as soon as the season ends in November. We start looking at hotels, and we will make the decision pretty quickly about whether or not we're going to fly or drive. And it's really it takes a whole year to get things moving for the next season.
And for this particular crew this year, you got 2 trips to Texas. Which, again, as you just said, may actually be easier than getting 3 buses in the parking lot.
It really is. I mean, by the time it's all said and done, I've actually visited every single one of our opponents. In the spring, I will go and I visit all of the schools that we're going to play. So I've been to Texas, I've been to Houston, I've been to San Antonio. I had a rental car and I drove, I flew to Dallas and drove all over the whole state. And it makes it a lot easier for planning, and I can see things that are going to be a problem in advance. And it makes it a lot easier for everyone, especially the staff. No one's really been to these non-conference schools before, unlike the CAA where I have been to all of those schools. And it makes it a lot easier for everyone's planning.
And I would think as well, when it comes to hotels, you've got to find and make sure that the team is going to a hotel that can handle a group that size.
That's right. And Coach Curry and our philosophy is that we would rather stay a little bit further away if we have to, but as long as the hotel is full service where we can eat as a team, break into meetings, and have enough rooms for our teams to stay overnight. That's what we're looking for, as opposed to eating in a smaller venue and then waiting for them to break it down and maybe then setting up or having to eat in the lobby. I've seen it all. So, but yeah, we need a full-service hotel all the time.
Obviously, when I travel with Panther basketball, you're talking about a party of 20, 21. It's a lot easier. They can go out to a restaurant. This group, you can't show up to a restaurant with 75 or whatever it is, including support staff and coaches.
Right.
So who's in charge of the menu? You were Coach Curry.
I suggested the menu originally off from my last school. It was suggested to us by our training staff, and obviously our training staff here and I put it together with the strength coaches, and a lot of it has to do with what to feed them the day of the game, the day before the game. It's generally the same menu, but there are times when we have day games when we are eating a breakfast before we play instead of like a dinner with the chicken and vegetables and pasta. So, but it's very intricate. We can't have certain things like on game day. So.
Final question, when the plane lands coming back or when the bus pulls into the practice facility, is there a small sigh of relief from Sarah Giggy?
Absolutely, every time. Basically, when the game kicks off, I have a couple minutes to relax, and then I kind of get a little tense towards the end of the game. But then once the buses roll in, the plane lands, and everyone's on their way, that is a sigh of relief, but then it's on for the next week.
All right, Sarah, appreciate it. Thanks for getting us there safely and on time.
Thank you.
All right, I want to thank Director of Football Operations, Sarah Gigantino, joining us here for a few minutes. Coach Curry and I are back to preview the Houston Cougars. Right after this, you're watching Inside Georgia State Football with head coach Bill Curry.
And there's the star now.